Yo, what's up, guys? BeatsbyHcien, because this is your first time in here, so you're having issues EQing your vocals, making sure they are blending with the beats. Don't worry, I got you. And in today's video, I'm basically going to be showing you guys the steps that I take to EQ my own vocals. And like I always said, I'm not saying this is the best way of doing things. I'm only showing you my method, and if you feel like you like this method and you can try to use it, it's cool. So without wasting much time, let's get straight into the video. So yeah, for this one, we're going to be focusing mainly on my vocals, and yeah, this is what it sounds like before the EQ. Maga, why you quiet? I'ma tell you things I know. I make I be a striker, cause I got my eyes on you. So the first thing I do is to listen and figure out what I want. So this particular EQ that I put here, I don't use it on a normal, but I did it in these vocals because I was noticing a little bit of highness and a little bit of harsh high frequency. So I wanted to take that out first before I start. And what I always do is subtractive EQing. I do subtractive EQing first before I boost. And subtractive EQing is just basically taking out frequency that I don't like. So after I've taken out frequency that I don't like, I can start adding additional frequencies that I feel I want. Maybe the air, maybe for a little bit of crispiness, I can start doing that. So these are like the little way I think when I'm using EQ. So like I said, this one is not really a must. I only did this because I felt like the vocal was having this little bit of harshness. So that was why I added this EQ. Maga, why you quiet? I'ma tell you things I know. Without it, I make I be a striker, cause I got my eyes on you. It's a little bit of harsh, but with it, you got a pretty fine face. I see for you, I spend my minimum wage. This kind of body, now in me, I want this to. And of course, you want to make sure you clean your vocals, you know, but we're focusing mostly on the EQ now, but I always clean my vocals. So after I done that, I bring up my fab filter EQ, and I'm taking out from the 80 to 100 hertz. And in this case, I'm using 187 hertz. So as well as their numbers, I'm making use of my ears. So the first thing I do when I bring in my EQ is to take a low cut or a high pass, whatever, and roll out the lows because I don't want it to be muddy. So I'm going to off these frequencies so that we can get a better understanding. So yeah, this is what it sounds like without anything. You got a pretty fine face. I see for you, I spend my minimum wage. You can see, you can hear that little bit of low depth, so I didn't want it. So with the low cut. You got a pretty fine face. I see for you, I spend my minimum wage. This kind of body, now in me, I want this to. So this is before. You got a pretty fine face. You can hear that depth, so we don't want it. So that's why we cut it a bit. You got a pretty fine face. I see for you, I spend my minimum wage. You know, just to get that crispiness in the vocals. And the next thing I do, this particular one is based on taste. Do you get? So I'm just basically going in, like take this up and move around and try to figure out. I solo the frequency most of the time, and I feel like I don't like that one. I take it down like this. You got a pretty fine face. So that's what I do. And another thing is when I always go around the 300 to like 500 hertz. You can see the figures around there. If you're like, how do I know? You can see the figures there. So around 300, 500 is where you get that boxiness in your vocal. So I always go there. Let me take this up so you see it yourself. So I'm going to mute this so you can hear. You got a pretty fine face. I see for you, I spend my so you can see as I boost this, you can hear the vocal is sounding like this, right? But when I take this down, you can see what it does. You got a pretty fine face. I see for you, I spend my minimum wage. So if you have ears, you realize that has automatically taken out that boxiness that you can hear. So most times from the 300 to the 500 hertz, you can just listen to and try to take that away. And what I do, let me show you so you understand. Without that particular subtractive EQ, you got a pretty fine face. I see for you, I spend my minimum wage. You can hear the vocal is sounding a little bit nasal, but when you take that out, you got a pretty fine face. I see for you, I spend my minimum wage. You can see how that little change, you can see how it brings out the vocals more. So I just basically did the same thing here, you know, by, you know, moving around frequency, soloing it by clicking this headphone icon. I didn't like that frequency, so I just take it down. So another thing I look for while I'm sweeping frequencies, while I'm hearing all the so when I'm hearing those kind of sound, I just basically take it down, and I'm not making the whole stuff too wide. I'm making it little, because the wider, the more areas it affects frequency wise. So yeah, I just basically from the 3 to 5,000, you can bring it down, and this is also where you tend to get a little bit of clarity as well. So be careful with this range. On harshness as well is around the 6.8 as well. You just have to be careful when you are operating this range. So yeah, basically, so you see I'm doing only subtractive EQing. I've not done any additional EQ yet. So this is like the first take I've taken. So yeah, let's listen to what it sounds like before and after the EQ. So this is before the EQ.
You got a pretty fine face. I see for you I spend my minimum wage.
And this is after the EQ.
You got a pretty fine face. I see for you I spend my minimum wage. This kind of body now in me I want this to do party. Shorty wanna do party.
And I just add my compressor.
You got a pretty fine face. I see for you I spend my minimum wage. This kind of body now in me I want this to do party. Shorty wanna do party.
So the next thing I do is now basically add in some air, and what I used to add in my air is a butt fig EQ, and this is like not compulsory based on the software wise. You can use whatever software you are used to. So you can use the fresh air. You can also use the EQ. So in my case, I'm using the Budge Vig vocals, and I just basically increase the air a bit, and just increase the presence so that you can hear what I'm saying more. So anytime you're increasing the presence, what it's just doing is just bringing clarity in what the artist is singing. So this is what it sounds like.
You got a pretty fine face. I see for you I spend my minimum wage. This kind of body now in me I want this to
before
do party. Shorty wanna do party.
After
I'm stuck with you, and girl I'm stuck with you. Do party.
So on this part, I'm trying to get that crispiness in my vocals, and I added another Plug Tech EQ. This is an analog EQ, and what I'm doing basically right now is additional EQing. So yeah, what I'm just basically doing, as you can see, is just basically adding some additive EQ in here, and I'm just basically boosting frequencies. Like I took it to the 8, boosted a bit, boost the attenuation to, took a boost of 1. If you need a special video for this, let me know in the comment section. But what I'm just basically doing is now adding frequencies that I want to hear, that I want to feel, which is like the air, the crispiness of the whole vocals, and this is what we have.
You got a pretty fine face. I see for you I spend my minimum wage. This kind of body now in me I want this to
So you can see we started from this.
You got a pretty fine face. I see for you I spend my minimum wage.
And now we are yeah.
You got a pretty fine face. I see for you I spend my minimum wage.
So we're adding some reverb.
You got a pretty fine face. I see for you I spend my minimum wage. This kind of body now in me I want this to do party. Shorty wanna do party. I'm stuck with you, and girl I'm stuck with you.
And yeah, so that's just basically what I do and how I do it. Basically cut the frequencies, take out frequency I don't like, add in frequencies that I like the presence, adding some presence. And if you want to take out the harshness, like I said, around the 368 hertz, you have to be careful with that as well, so you don't overdo it. So this is basically my own method of how I EQ my vocals and the steps I take. So I hope this video was helpful, and if you like more videos like this, more content like this, and if you use any of these and it's helpful to you, please make sure you let me know in the comment section, and I'll do it to make more of these videos like this. So till I catch you guys in the next video, remember to always stay positive. Peace.